Hello everyone, here we are for the 3 ways with Glenn and Sandy. Today, of course, another incredible topic to tease you and to bring you live with us and to shake your soul, but also the question maybe today can be, are we eager to be loved or to find true love? So, of course, we won't talk only about love, but that's an amazing sentence, that we always repeat along our sessions. For love matters. So let's wait for the mythical 2. I love live sessions because it's very interactive. We can see your comments instantly, and it is an amazing way to connect from distance. Just sending Glenn.
Hi guys.
Peace
How are you?
How are you?
Peace.
Hello.
How are you guys?
I'm laughing so hard because Glenn just texted the two of us and he said, "Be right there. I'm pouring my tea."
Right.
Yes, I was laughing.
The elder in the group is pouring his teeth.
Yeah.
Yes. I drink it twice a day.
Sometimes I forget to clean them, so it's water.
So what's in your tea? What's in your tea?
Literally, it's dirt. Dirt.
Oh no.
Indian dirt. That's what it is. So it's a blend from my Ayurvedic doctor, and it is all meant to cleanse the arteries, open up blood flow where there is plaque in your arteries, completely wash out.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question. When you clean things, don't you take away the dirt?
No. That was the taste of Sandy.
Yeah, it's not a pleasant taste, but it's not supposed to be. It's a cleansing tea for the arteries. I got some gunk in the carotid artery that I'm getting rid of. And so 6 months from now, I go back to a scan to the doctor with an ultrasound, and I'm going to blow their minds because the blockages that were there are going to be completely gone. And they're going to be like, how did this happen? And I'll be like, Ayurveda, every time. So that's what I'm doing. And I take a bunch of other supplements that he gives me too. I can't wait to finish this, but it's good.
You're gonna drink dirt for 6 months?
I have been for like 2 months already. And if you notice, every time I do a live, I have a cup. That's always that dirt tea. It's a bunch of blends that you've never heard of that I can't even pronounce, you know?
Right. Dirt tea.
But it's good for you. You know, there's so many other ways besides statins to fix your inner self.
All right. Well, I'm also doing my dirty cleanse.
Coffee with no cream, black coffee.
It's not black. There's this little.
Me too. I have amazing soup, guys.
Well, at least there's no boba like that girl Jack. So that's good.
It's not soup with this weather. No thanks. Finally got.
So what's going on? What are we feeling today? What did you say about? I heard you say something about love, Francesca. What did you say?
No, since every time I have a session, we talk with friends, the topic of love comes out because we are all dreaming of love. Either someone is looking for love or lack of love. So love is the main topic, by the way. So it's very interesting. As soon as we ask this question to anyone, of course, looking for an answer, are you eager to be loved or to find true love? Most of the people say to be loved. And then I say, why? Do you love yourself? And they say, yes. And say, oh, really? So why do you want to be loved? Because I love already myself. Now I want to be loved.
Well, loving myself is old news. I'm used to me. I need a new lover.
It's very interesting because love, self-love, it's very tricky. As many people trying to reach this amazing confidence and self-love that becoming very selfish, either within their families or they just focus on one thing for themselves. So at the end, love is sharing, inclusion, integrity. But of course, you don't know how to love if you don't love yourself. So what would you answer, guys? Of course, I know you are.
Well, the first question is, what does it mean for you, Francesca? Then Sandy, you answer it next. What does it mean? What does it really mean to love yourself? And it can't be a generic answer. It's got to be a deep, and a real answer. No
Specific.
just
Specific.
so give me something real. What does that mean to love yourself? For you.
To do
For you.
and to take action and to think and to be as you want to be. So freedom is, of course, the main ingredient, as if you're not free, you're not able to express and to be. So freedom doesn't mean no, no kind of boundaries, no kind of, discipline, as, of course, as we know, we can get lost within freedom. So freedom, I mean, freedom of expression, of way of thinking, and then you adapt and you shape yourself along your experience. But to love yourself, you must be and do what you are.
So for you,
to love yourself.
That means being and doing what you are. For you.
What I am for me, of course.
I want to know for you, specifically.
But it's not selfish, because then I'm accepting my nature, I'm enhancing my natural self, while of course leading by example, because once we reach this confidence and security within, of course, it's contagious for all the rest around us.
So how do you know when you're doing that for you?
It fulfills, not for me and maybe for others.
For you. For you.
For me only, I feel good, but of course it depends on the soul you have. For me, I'm happier if I do sharing, if I do share my moments with others than only for myself, because I feel very complete within myself, even though I'm not perfect at all.
So you feel self-love when you share yourself and connect with others.
Also.
Not only, I'm saying, not only.
Also, yeah.
That's a part of your self-love.
Of my personality and soul, of course. Not everyone is the same, but it's a very tricky question, I believe. So it's very interesting, the answer we receive when we ask it.
I like the answers you're giving. I want to know for you, I think a lot of mistake we all make. When I share on Instagram, I always make sure, I do my best at least, to share what it is for me versus me telling what it should be for someone else. And we always do a little bit of both in the work that we do. And that's why I'm so specifically answering you, Francesca, because you give a lot of amazing answers. But I think the most special answer is the ones you were giving at the end, when you share with us what it is for you. What is it specifically that makes you feel self-love? Now, we got a great answer in that, where you feel self-love when you share yourself and you connect with others.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. So that's what I wanted to hear, that's what people want
also
to hear.
Also, because as soon as we share it, it increases the value, it increases the energy, it enhances the energy. So anything that, of course, is true and also made of beauty and connection and intensity and complexity, as soon as it is shared, it announces all the values in it.
All right, Sandy,
So
time to go deep.
This morning I called the coffee shop and ordered a large coffee. Every day they're like, large or small? And I just, depending on if I have to run somewhere, sometimes I just want a small because I'll finish it faster. So I ordered a large today, thinking I had a little extra time after my workout. And then I was playing with my bird. So I hadn't gone to pick it up yet. I just called in the order. And I was then running late to go pick up my coffee because the moment with my bird was so sweet. He was on his back in my hand and I was tossing him. He can't fly yet. He's a baby. I'm tossing him just a little bit in the air and catching him, and he's just on his back with his feet just like this, and he trusts me so much, and it's the sweetest. And he puts his face up against mine and just like a bird who gives hugs. Oh, right? No, I was late to go pick up my coffee, which made me late to come here to do this. I just took my first couple sips now, and now I wish I would have ordered a small. Self-love is allowing that moment that's so delicious to be the moment. So I'm not going to finish my coffee today. It got a little bit cold. I don't even care. It was so worth it. Self-love is that I did a workout this morning before getting any work done on my computer. Self-love is when I ordered my coffee and my wrap, I said, dude, this is a 4th day in a row that you did not toast the wrap, and it's different. So you do not toast the wrap, I'm taking $10 out of the tip jar. Got it? And now they know I'm joking. I'm the one who puts 20 in the tip jar when I get a $3 coffee. You know what I mean? So, but self-love is saying a wrap tastes better when it's toasted. I'm going to ask. Self-love is, I have a certification I want to get done within 2 weeks. So I'm going to plan every single evening between now and then to spend 2 hours learning this new stuff and taking the test. Self-love is saying, I'm going to make sure. This is what I offered to a client recently who said, and I had 2 clients use the exact same words. 2 people from other parts of the world said to me, Sandy, I just get up in the morning and I'm lucky to get through my day. Get through my day. Those were the exact words. And to one of them, I said, well, you get a parking ticket every Thursday because you never make it to your car on time to move it because you're always caught in a work meeting. Self-love is go into your work Google Calendar right now and book out not 10 minutes before 11 o'clock, whatever it is when they start ticketing, not 10 minutes before because you'll be rushing, a phone call's going to go late, an hour before, and book that out in your calendar from now through the next year. Every Thursday, that hour before car ticket time, because all that money you spend on tickets, you could have taken 2 vacations. So self-love is saying, I'm not available during that hour. Now, if you have time during that hour to get other work done, you get work done. And if you have time during that hour to meditate, make that your hour. You deserve that. And I pointed out that the guy who is sort of her boss above her makes twice the amount of money, works less. I know he's booking out an hour to do stuff with his girlfriend that he's not talking about. Nobody's going to ask you, why did you book that hour out? Just book it out. And guess what the 3 of us do? That's self-love. We all book out this hour every week. And if this hour were not booked out, sure enough, my calendar would
So being consistent. Being consistent.
If consistent is toward your goal. I don't want somebody to be consistent in...
Is love. Being consistent is love.
When a person is consistent toward their goal, that is self-love. But consistency in allowing your calendar to be open for another work phone call, that's not self-love at all.
It depends.
So
Yeah.
I know, Glenn, you wanted specific. And here's my last bit of specific. 2 clients said...
that want specific. When you share yourself, that's when others can connect.
Yeah.
And we all get to experience that self-love Francesca talks about. So people really want to hear from you. I want to know you better by you sharing this with me. And so does everybody else. So that's why it's specific.
All right. So to circle it back around, I wake up to get through my day. I said, how about you just change it slightly? Instead of get through my day, what if you just said, I get my day? I get my day. And how all of a sudden now you start making different decisions because it puts you back in control of your freedom. True, real freedom. I get my day.
I like that.
And then you start making different decisions. Yeah.
Fundamental. And I say it because I'm a free person, and of course I've been lost in the past for the freedom I had, and that's when you develop this awareness and recognition of yourself, as I said, self-love, knowing whom you are, then you can enjoy freedom, only by then, otherwise it's a mess.
That was really good, Sandy. That's marinating in my head. I get my day.
So
and see, that kind of stuff is what people need to hear to connect with. Because it's real. And it's so important to carry that with us. So I love it. That was amazing, Sandy.
Your turn.
Francesca, you guys both
Your turn.
days. All right, so
your turn.
The definition of self-love for me is it's recognizing, and it's a practice of recognizing those parts of myself that, one, I feel are beautiful, the ones I feel are proud of, and the parts of myself that make me me. Because when I recognize those things, I don't need anybody else to. That also means nobody, no person, no place or thing can take those away from me. My self-love is recognizing the parts, even if other people don't get it, or the dumb dad jokes I'll tell at dinner with my daughter sometimes, or whatever it may be. These parts make me unique and they make me me. And so my self-love is recognizing those parts of myself that I don't need to change for anyone. And when
Can we add more to your self-love? I have 2 dumb dad jokes that I thought of for you.
Yeah, we do.
One of them I think I shared on this show. So I might be repeating, which is why I brought a second one just in case. So why did the chicken fall in the well?
Why?
Did I do this one yet?
No.
Okay. All right, good. Why did the chicken fall in the well?
Why?
Because he couldn't see that well.
That's good. You know,
So much sense of humor.
you know, I got to tell you, lately, I've really been noticing fine art. I really like art. And so the other day, I had a chance to go to that very special museum, and I never thought I would actually be able to go. And I saw the Mona Lisa right there next to me. And when I looked at her, you know what I thought? When I knew her, she was the moaning Lisa, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Oh man, and I just thought you couldn't see that well.
But to be honest, what do you feel when you watch the Mona Lisa? Glenino and Sandy.
I've never seen it in person, so, you know, I just remember her as moaning Lisa. We were good friends, if you know what I mean. But I don't. That was my own joke. I got to tell on stage once.
She and I were also very good friends. She and I were also very good friends, Glenn.
I've never seen it to really know if I think I would appreciate the history. You've seen it obviously, Francesca, right?
Me, I love art. To be honest, I lived in the art world till I was 22 years old.
So you saw it?
I studied it.
You studied
5 years.
And,
yeah.
And
big time.
Why is it so popular? Like what makes it so special that it's lasted this long?
Of course, there is some energy coming from certain paintings that can be related to the eye touch or to the smile or to the skin, but at the end it's the wall. It's the energy that the painter is able to give while immersing himself into the painting. So it's very subjective. In my opinion, the Mona Lisa is about, of course, the eye touch, but also is the face.
The energy, that makes sense. There's an energy that comes off that painting.
It is, lots of energy coming from the Mona Lisa. That's why it became famous.
I recently read that they used eggs in that paint.
Really?
Yeah.
You can use actually the white of the egg to understand the chemical compost of an old painting to see if there is a reaction or not. So but to put an organic stuff in the painting, it's like killing the painting.
So
yeah, well, that's what they're noticing is over time, it's starting to the paint is starting to change.
After 1 week, Sandy.
So, does that mean the painting's excellent?
Oh my God!
That's
you
so
should
bad.
definitely use that on a date. You definitely should.
Now, here's my that's so bad. All right. So somebody wrote, to love yourself means to love your weakness and accept yourself in your uniqueness being. That's what Anita.
Weakness and uniqueness. Why are you defining it as a weakness? I want to know what they think their weakness is.
Yeah. Come on and share that with us. That would be good if people want to come on. And Jackie, for self-love, it's no longer having boba. That would be good self-love for her. I like that. And let's see if they want to come on and share. That would be cool to hear what they say. Send a request to share that with us because it's important.
Yeah.
But we can, or maybe it's about loving the parts of yourself that you feel insecure about. That might be a better way to phrase that.
but that's not who you really are, because when insecure is a negative emotion,
It is.
whenever we feel negative emotion, it is always
Also, but
because
weaknesses are related to fears, guys, because there is, of course, separation between the two.
that's right. So when we feel negative emotion, it is always because we are not seeing it the way our inner being sees it. So your inner being, who you really are, is seeing it differently. Otherwise, it wouldn't hurt to think about it.
Yeah.
What you're calling weakness, your inner being is not seeing as a weakness. So what is the thing, and what is the story you're telling about it, and are you ready to give up that dumb story?
Weakness, in my opinion, can be defined as something you can't control, and so you become weak as you lose it. So can be also something positive, actually, but if you don't control it, becomes your weakness. And I believe weakness is part of anything that is becoming vulnerable, so we always have to accept them, and they become truly our strength.
So
like,
what's the difference?
Struggling to coach myself, and now I'm very good with others. Of course, less with myself, but I'm very good with others. So only if you go through your weaknesses, you become strong about it.
What is the line between vulnerability and insecurity?
Totally the opposite, in my opinion.
Well, what do you mean?
So vulnerability, it is something that you feel and you want to deliberate it and liberate yourself, becoming truthful, and so you expose it. An insecurity is something you hide, and you don't really share it as it is truly part of you. You don't even see it, and instead of admitting your insecurity, your ego protects you. So it's very important to understand that vulnerability is very sexy, to expose your truth, whatever it is, even though it's very uncomfortable. Insecurity is the opposite. It makes you a loser, in my opinion.
But part of expressing your vulnerability is expressing your insecurity.
But Echo, that's why sometimes I feel insecure is not insecurity, it's vulnerability. So if we start thinking that when we feel insecure is actually being vulnerable, we will stop sabotaging ourselves, not calling it even insecurity, because as we know, it's the meaning we give to the words that has the value of it at the end. So we have to accept is being vulnerable, and we share what is called insecurity. If it's called insecurity, it stays within us and we project it on the outside.
So then vulnerability is a positive way of expressing your insecurities.
Exactly.
I think the fine line that might be uncomfortable for a lot of people is, it almost sounds like, and I know you don't mean this, but it almost sounds like we are requiring people to share everything. And then Jesus said, says the Jew, quoting Jesus all the time, Jesus said, go forth and tell no one. So which is it? Go forth and tell no one, or tell everyone everything? And it's a fine line, because we're talking about different things. When you show up authentic, it doesn't mean you have to tell everyone everything.
Yeah, of course.
So it really is a fine line, but I think where you're going with vulnerability is being authentic, and so apropos to any situation, true and honest expression. And true and honest expression doesn't mean say everything, but if there's something we're not saying, what is the reason? Is the reason because it's not necessary, or is the reason because we're scared and we're hiding? So it's not just a hard and fast rule. And I'd love to share an example. I just finished reading an amazing book that was written in the 1970s by the same guy who wrote all the Jason Bourne stuff. Mm-hmm. What's his name? Ludlum, Robert Ludlum. And the book is called The Holcroft Covenant. And it's amazing. So there's this, it's so good. And there's a scene in the book where this guy who's starting to figure out like who's been deceiving him and stuff, right? He's like running and getting like, you know, doing the Jason Bourne thing. He's like, you know, conquering and making things happen. And then this bigger guy comes along and grabs him, and because the bigger guy who comes along, the big scary guy, is actually saving this guy's life right now. But this guy thinks he's a bad guy. They don't know each other, right? But he's been sent to go save the guy who's about to make things go wrong. So he grabs him from behind and he holds him down, and it's punching and kicking, and he says, I'm on your side. I swear to God, I'm on your side. He said, no, you're not. No. So how do you convince him? So the bigger new guy, he has a gun. He hands the guy the gun. He said, there you go. kill me if you think I'm a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And you're waiting like, oh my God, what's going to happen, right? Is it a double bluff? Like you drink the poison, right? So that moment, that moment that he hands him the gun and says, well, okay, I'm here to save you. I just gave you my gun. You can kill me. You can. That's vulnerable. I am so telling the truth. I am so telling the truth. And I'm not going to fight you on it. And if you want to take me down, I'm going to let you do it. That is power. And talk about the brilliance and strength in the man who gave his gun to the other guy. And the real life application of that is one of the greatest hypnotic techniques that gets used all the time by the people who really are good at hypnosis will say something like, look, I don't know how you will double or even increase your response to these hypnotic words, but you do. That line is used all the time in hypnosis, or something like it, where you say, I don't know. And here, yet, we as the hypnotists are supposed to be the authority, and we just said, I'm the authority, but I don't know, but you do. That's handing it to him, right? There is so much strength in that vulnerability, because when we shift the word vulnerability to confidence, because I have confidence in saying I don't know. So I don't say, yeah, right. So we use it to our advantage, and it becomes more powerful, Francesca, which is exactly what you were saying in very black and white language. Your weakness becomes your strength. It's the you're right.
Exactly.
You're right.
The best example, and also to activate transformation as we all do with everything. So this is how we do it. We change the word also because we grow up in a way with this system beliefs of definition, meaning we give also our definition to things. Like for me, chasing is not wrong in love, as of course then you deal with rejection if it happens, but we need to chase things we love. So for me, chasing doesn't have a bad connotation, but for many it has. So for me, insecurity is vulnerability, because at the moment you I don't want to repeat it, but exactly, we transform it.
Yeah, my son follows all the basketball YouTube videos, and he'll say, watch this guy, he's great. So you see this guy, he goes, well, I set out to make this shot where I throw it to that wall and it hits that wall and then it goes off my elbow and off my heel and into the basket. And so you watch him fail 10 times. And he's like, well, that didn't work, so I changed my shoes. Well, that didn't work, so I drank Prime. And so, and so you see him fail 20 times until he finally makes it. But every once in a while, you watch the whole video and he never makes it. And the guy's got 20 million followers. You see, there's that strength and vulnerability. Just like Len started out with this conversation, we want to see those places where you go wrong. But it's not wrong and it's not weak. It's showing, exposing, sharing, connecting, which is what Francesca lives for. So.
Obviously, but also to myself, connection is key to not get bored. Otherwise, we always find everything to get distracted.
Yeah. So let's see. Outside of Jackie's getting off of Dunkin' Donuts, no dragon fruit refreshers. That's a giant thing of sugar. It's nasty. All right.
Juice Press has real dragon fruit. There's another name for it. What's the other name, Francesca, for dragon fruit? It's a passion. Or yeah. Anyway, Juice Press has the real stuff. Go there.
So
dragon fruit is the one bigger one. There are two different types.
all right. So here we go. Still not feel insecurities should be revealed. It surely be handled well, but no need to reveal. That's not the vulnerability, but that's the real power. Francesca, oh, I love her accent. She is so expressive. She is very expressive.
Thank you.
But I'm not sure. I know some of the wording is probably because of you're translating it into English. So I'm not 100% sure what he's saying, but what I think he's saying is, yes, you don't reveal your inner world to everyone. You have boundaries with who you share certain things with. Not everything is meant for everyone's ears, and you shouldn't be an open waterfall to everybody you meet. That's not healthy. But your inner circle of people that you know have your best interest at heart, those are the people you share that with.
And truly being open doesn't mean waterfall all the time. It doesn't mean bleed on people. It's an authenticity, and we've talked about this. I've said it so many times. Authenticity is bulletproof.
Yeah.
And the other word for dragon fruit is pitaya.
Oh, that's right.
That's what
Pitaya.
I was looking for. They have
They
that
make
at
those acai bowls with pitaya in them.
so good.
But that's
At the
glorified.
same time, guys, if you, sorry, regarding authenticity, because yesterday we talked about this, what do you think, like, if you don't love yourself, if you don't know yourself, you cannot be authentic. People that don't know authenticity mistake authenticity for fake also, or for something that is not authentic. So to truly do this inner work we're going through together, it's fundamental also to become authentic and to appreciate authenticity, because if you don't know who you are, you will never be authentic.
I have a perfect example for what you just said. Yesterday, I had a client come in here. She said, I'm finally building up. I'm going to be ready to start dating any minute now. I want to put a profile out there. So this is a big deal. She's avoided it for years. And she said, Sandy, can you help me be better at dating? And I should send her to Glenn and say, use his dad jokes, because that'll...
Every time.
But anyway, what we came to through conversation is essentially she had been spending time on a date strategizing. You know, I should look a little bit like the weaker one, and I should laugh when he says this, and I should ask him about that. She was strategizing how to be in order to sort of lure a guy, I guess. And I said, how are you ever going to know if you get the right guy? Because you're not being fair to him. So she said, well, then how do I do it? I said, stop strategizing. Sit down, look at him, and just ask yourself in the moment, what's interesting here? What am I curious about? And if nothing comes to you, you literally can say, if someone had a curiosity about you, where would they start? Right? You can ask the question about the question, but the purpose of this is she was spending her time on dates strategizing to create a false sense of herself. How are you going to attract the right person? Right? Let that go. Stop giving a crap. And just really show genuine interest. And I told her, and I know this is the same for you guys, because you've seen clients all day for years. You have to let go of being brilliant. You have to let go of saying the right thing all the time. The only way this lifestyle, what we do for a living, is sustainable is you have to sit down blank and get interested and get curious. And if no question shows up, ask them. And I ask clients all the time, is there a question I should have asked you today that I missed? You can ask that too.
Do you want me to give you the move?
Oh my God, yes. Yeah. All right, so the move on a day, how to be a good person in dating?
No. I'll show you the move. Now, I should be charging thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars for this move. It works not some of the time. It works every single time. So here's the move. It's going to sound stupid, and you'll both say that would never work on me, and it would absolutely work on both of you every time. So when you meet somebody, in acting, we call it the fourth wall. Like if you're on stage, you don't connect with the audience directly because you don't want to break the fourth wall. Well, when it comes to dating, there's a fourth wall between you. And you can't meet somebody and be all over them. That's just creepy, right? It's like, ew, get this guy off me. He's touching me too much, or they're just all over me. What you do is, after you say hello, you do a quick hug, just gentle, nothing smothering. Then when you sit down at the table, I take both my hands and I lay them on the table and I'll say, I'm so glad we made this happen tonight. And what do? What would you do when I do this? Francesca, you would too at the table. And very briefly, you'd put your hands in mine. Now, the magic here is I don't just hold them and stare at you, because that's also freaking creepy. But this breaks the fourth wall. And we got to connect already physically. Now the rest of our time together feels so much easier. The perfect icebreaker to break that fourth wall. But you got to know just when to let go. You have to hold it so they know you're there for a reason, but then you got to let go just at the right time and naturally go back. It works.
The letting go would be so uncomfortable. Like, do you rub the thumb for a sec? Do you like...
So the second is to show up your hands, basically, to have a connection.
Because when somebody shake, if I do this to you, you're going to naturally want to shake my hand back.
Interesting what you said. I'm going to give you another example.
Yeah, and if I sit at the table and I put my hands out like this, your nature is going to be to put your hands in mine, because you're not going to be able to stand it. It's going to feel so uncomfortable if you don't. And it's just, I mean, it's really quick. It's a short thing, but it's just to make a quick physical connection so you break the fourth wall and it makes it smooth.
Hold
so
on,
people
you do this on a first date?
Every first one. Everyone.
A first date. And she puts her hands right, so your palms are face up on the table in front of you. She puts hers in yours. Now, I want to know, because this is, if I were you, if I were the initiator, so my palms are up and she just put her hands in mine, you can't leave your hands doing nothing, so you do a little like thumb rub or something?
No.
What?
No thumb rub.
You just leave your hands like a fish?
You hold her hands normally. You hold their hands.
You hold?
And you
How do you get away without, like, because now her hands are going to drop and...
No, it's really, you're way over. You hold their hands, you say, it's really great that we made this happen tonight to get together. And then you take your hands back, and it's very nice and natural.
And how do you get them back? Like, you just, like, leave her hanging there?
When you shake it, how do you stop shaking somebody's hand?
Mashed on the table. Guys, I think...
You're so difficult, but I'll show you in...
You guys are so simple, can I tell you?
Wait, no, so now help me.
There's so much more than this. I think...
Is it okay if Francesca, on a date with a man, she's the initiator of the open palms?
No. For me, it has to be the man, as I don't want to be the man in a relationship at all. I even though I'm very strong. That's why either I'm with a man more strong, I can.
Who's ever more masculine in the relationship. So if you're meeting someone, if she has more masculine energy than you, it should be her. If you have more masculine energy than her, it should be
it's an exchange. I agree.
All right, so Francesca, you're with a guy who's as awesome as Glenn. He puts his hands out. You put your hands in his.
Stop right there.
You're with a guy who's trying to be like Glenn. You're with a guy who's trying to be like Glenn.
I'm very touchy as a person, guys. Of course, I don't have secrets about myself. I mean, in terms of personality. I believe I don't like to be touched if I don't feel the connection. Like, no one has to dare to touch me. But if I have a friend, I love hugging non-stop. So it depends on the connection, someone I trust, even a girlfriend or a friend. I'm happy to connect touching. Otherwise, no, for me, the body is very sacral. No one ever can touch. No, because I'm very also sensitive. I feel everything. I feel the energy. So for me, it's very sacral. But at the same time, to have a connection with a stranger by bodies is very powerful. That's why we do these tantric experiences.
Okay, so a guy puts his hands out. You're feeling, let's go both scenarios. The first scenario, you're not necessarily attracted to him. You don't hate him. So he puts his hands out. What do you feel obligated to put your hands in his?
She would. Yes, you both would. It's a human pattern. You will feel obligated to do so. And the next
I agree with you, because that's what I felt when you put your hands out. I knew what you wanted.
Yeah. And the perfect part is, I don't grope you. It's just a very nice, safe exchange. If anything, it makes you feel better about doing it, because it's very gentle. It's not. It's a nice thing. Trust me. It's the result.
Would there be a situation where you would not put your hands in his, assuming he's a decent person?
Nope. Never.
You would always put your hands in his, Francesca, if he's decent.
It's a social concept.
Of course, it depends who he is.
But
like, if he's a stranger that I never met, maybe not. Unless I feel the most beautiful energy and it's different. For me, it changes by person. I will never be the same as I'm with everyone. I'm different everyone.
But remember,
Like I don't touch the same way, I don't hug the same way. For me, people are very different. I don't find everyone equal.
And you, Francesca, there would never be a situation ever where you'd be the initiator of the open palms. You would never do that?
Well, of course, Sandina, it depends, as Glenn reminded us before, it depends on the exchange that is given to the situation. So as I'm very adaptable and I love adding good energy in general, so if someone is more vulnerable, I become stronger, and then I'm more vulnerable if someone is too strong. This is ideal, but that's naturally how I am. That's why I adapt to any situation, because I can play with energy. I suppose you too, guys.
Yeah, right there. Extending your hands is an invitation to connect. That is 100% yes. And remember, you guys are being prepped for this. It happens very organically. Well, forced organically. But it's, I'm telling you, any guys watching, you can thank me.
I'm believing you. That's why I felt it was such an interesting, because Glenn, when you did put your hands out, immediately I felt like that, like, even though you're a straight man and I'm a lesbian, if you and I were at dinner and we're the friends that we are, and you did that, I'd still put my hands in yours. It wouldn't be sexual, but I would, because I do. But if it were someone I didn't want to touch, I'd weirdly feel obligated. I would.
You would. And then you also, so it's a fun little icebreaker.
Yes. Another icebreaker. What do you think, Sandy? Which is your suggestion?
Yeah, what's your
as an icebreaker on a first date?
Yeah.
Thank God I don't date anymore. Because my first date, it was really like my second, because the first date wasn't dinner, but like the first time I took Jen to dinner, I said, you know, I asked her, have you ever been here? She said, no, she had not. I said, this is one of the greatest sushi places. They have a couple things that are really good. I'm going to go ahead and order them for the table. So the person came and took our drink order. I said, if it's okay, you know, I want to throw in some orders to start. And Jen looked at me. She said, excuse me, I can order for myself. And I was like, what? I'm like, I'm not trying to like overpower you. Order whatever you want. I was being nice and generous, and I thought romantic. So that was how we started. It was really
I love it too.
But she's hot, so I let it go. But I thought that was a romantic gesture, to just like take her to a place that I know is great and throw some food on the table just to get started. And
so when we get together and I meet Jen, I'm going to order for her right away.
For me, an icebreaker, don't laugh guys, is to see bad energy, and then I ask, oh my God, you have such a bad energy, why? Yeah, so oh boy. No, I'm a bit of, I have this sense of humor, very dark sometimes. I don't know what I would say. I would say for me, icebreaker is just to be yourself, because as soon as you pretend, there is already fake energy and it doesn't work. So I always think, just be yourself and whatever.
The icebreaker really has to come from the person that has the more masculine energy. Whether you're, you know, a guy seeing a girl seeing a girl, or a guy seeing a guy. Generally, the icebreaker is the one with the more masculine energy usually would take on the role of being the icebreaker, in my opinion.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree with you, and that's never me. It's never me.
Okay.
It's never me. I'm so bad at trying. The times that I've like really just gone in, which, you know, I've shared embarrassing stories in the past, but usually I will flat out say, oh my God, you're hot. Do you want to have sex? Like that, I just like, boom, because I just can't waste anybody's time. Like I just, and it's when it's right, it's a yes. And if it's wrong, it's a no. And it's like, glad I didn't waste any time there.
Because
you know, I've actually done that.
Yeah.
What?
If you love, you care more than when it's actually only sex, so it's less direct usually, when it's more like kind of deep. But see, in any case, I believe it also depends on our experience. Like me as a woman, I've always been used to guys coming to me, so of course it happened once in my life that of course I was the one going, but in general, it also depends on our experience of life.
Yeah. And I'm with you. People always come to me. And so the very few times I've done it, it's just super direct. Just boom, yes or no. Yeah, I don't get.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny. That's right. Well,
What do you say, Glenn? What do you say? Unless if it's a dating app, that's sort of a different situation, right? It almost makes it easier because they're showing interest before anything has to be said. But in real life, if you see a woman and you know you're interested, what is the first thing you say?
The cold approach.
Yeah, I mean, how do you how have you done it in the past before the dating apps?
Well, here's the worst thing. Like if I'm at a restaurant with my 16-and-a-half-year-old Olivia, and let's say the waitress is pretty, Olivia looks at me and she goes, and she stares at me just to make me feel, and she's like, and if I'm nice, I'm like, hey, nice, we want, and she goes, Dad, you are so awkward. And I'm like, I'm awkward because you're staring at me. I can't even speak. It's just like, anytime in public when there's a pretty attractive person, she will give me the same look and just judge me. She's like, okay, Dad, let's see what you say. What do you got? And I'm like,
that's amazing.
Not just anytime. Every time. She's so intimidating.
Okay, now we're going to do a new scenario for you, Glenn. Your daughter...
He does what he wants, even though, of course, he doesn't do it anymore. But with me, actually, he's more powerful. He's even more empowered with me to go, you know, with women.
Oh, yeah, because babies, you know, kids, babies, dogs, they're so much better for dating. So, Glenn, let's put you back in the scenario. And your daughter just went to the bathroom. The hot waitress comes to you and says, want to have sex?
I'm so bad in that area when it comes to meeting.
How do you
respond?
How do you respond if a super hot woman that you have a connection with comes up and directly says that to you?
That doesn't happen, first of all.
If it did.
It doesn't happen. So,
I've done it.
Well, but it's different when it is girl to girl than guy to girl. I know, like,
no,
guys
girl to you. Girl to you. She says to you.
It doesn't work like that.
Ever?
It has never happened. No, it doesn't work like that.
I think that is so hot. If like a normal super hot person comes up to you and is like, all right, you want to throw it down? I'd be like,
can we have coffee first? Can I get to know you first?
Yeah,
but
that's you.
But that's not a realistic scenario. The realistic scenario is you meet somebody, you feel a connection, and you want to open up a conversation. And that's the realistic situation. And what kind of stinks in our world today, most people are not approachable these days. On Starbucks, they're on their phones, they're rushing here, out in public, they're distracted. It's not so easy anymore unless you're maybe in a class together or you're in an activity together and you have a natural, organic way to open a conversation. Yeah. But most of the time, especially here in LA, there really isn't a cold approach because we're all just stuck in our own way. That's why dating apps are so easy.
Yes, Glenina, and the worst part is people think they're not approachable, so they're not wanted. They're just distracted because they don't have anything to do. Yes,
and that's the thing. So it doesn't normally happen, and like that. So it will happen there were certain times in the past, like where I was kicking myself because I was like in line at the grocery store and there was a really like cute girl in front of me, and even the checkout teller felt it. He's like, "Are you guys together?" And I had a perfect moment for a joke, or I could have been, you know what? Actually, we are. And like I should have said I'll take care of her bill, and that would have been so funny, and I would have gotten her number, but I chickened out. You know, I wasn't present enough in the moment to be that funny and to be that clear. That was a couple of years ago, but that was one moment where I was like, that was a perfect opportunity for that, and I missed it, you know. So that happens to a lot of guys where we're in a situation and we don't step up because we're not really expecting it, you know. But
so Francesca, based on all the things Glenn's saying, are you ever fooled when a guy says, hey, we should get to know each other, we should have coffee? Are you ever fooled, or you completely actually know that he's just doing whatever it takes to get you in bed? Are you ever fooled?
I feel it immediately, obviously, Sandy.
Right, so that's my So what if a decent, respectable guy came up to you and was like, hey, let's throw down. I mean, before we do, we'll do some coffee, but that's where we're headed. Would you appreciate that or would you hate that?
Well, when I was young, I loved it, to be honest. Now I want a bit of more, of course, real confidence, not because at the end, this is, of course, a playful approach, which, of course, looks very manly, but at the end is also bullshit, because so many boys nowadays, I can see along my sessions too, they just approach girls to see the reaction, to see if they can go for it or not. They're not even interested. It's just for them, you know, to feel they can do it, and they also bet between each other, between boys and guys. So it's very sad. I mean, very fun for them. So I think if a man I like asked me to go in the bedroom in front of everyone, I would say yes. If yeah, it depends the love is my friend or not.
Yeah. You know what? If all the people watching live right now, if there is any gay male watching, please come join us, because I think gay men are the only ones who just get it right. I think they just get it right. I think they just kind of say what they mean. They don't play around. I think gay men are the best at it.
They only want at the end the final goal, which is in this case to have sex. But I believe you play so much more around when you want more.
Gay men want sex, but straight men also want sex. All men want sex. And I think gay men are more honest about it and clear.
But there's also the only opposite side I can say of that is when I look at things like the gay pride parade, right? I see, not with all, but I see such a raunchiness with sex and how they express themselves. They walk down the street in all kinds of, you know, leather type of outfits. And what I don't understand is, what does that have to do with being gay? And it's not a judgment, it's a real question.
It's expressing and celebrating who you are.
But why is that always seem to be very raunchy? I mean, you know what I'm talking about, Sandy, when you see
I hear you, and I think a lot of people see it the way you do.
Yeah, it's a real question. It's
right.
Not, it's an honest
But
question.
if women were in that, if it were all women in a parade and they were dressed in more of a Las Vegas-y kind of vibe, but you thought it was not raunchy, you thought it was hot, then it would be a different story for you. So it's just something you're not attracted to, but they're not trying to attract you. I feel like I'm speaking for you know, many other people, but I don't believe that it's an intention to attract you. I believe that it is beautiful, artistic, and creative souls feeling so free to express all that they are, and there's so much beauty, soul, and life in that. I love it. I love it.
Also, if as a woman you hang out with a mini skirt, of course you have to accept the naughty compliments. I mean, every action has a consequence. So all these women complaining, oh my God, it's disturbing, oh my God, please shut up. And I'm not a masculist, like I'm not defending the man at all. I'm super feminine. So it's all about what you give, you receive. Simple as this.
Yeah, that's very true too. All right, so you think that they're not seeing it as being raunchy. You think they see that as being attractive, and that's why it's expressed like that.
If I could speak for all of the people in the gay pride parades, I don't think they're even necessarily attempting to attract you or anyone. Yeah. I really just it has nothing to do with attracting. I believe that a person who's going to dress in a way that you find raunchy is a man or a non-binary, beautiful human who is feeling so free and supported to express all that they are in their soul. In the same way, when the painter painted the Mona Lisa, there was so much energy flowing through that people all these years later are still feeling that energy, and other people look at it and say, I don't get it. And that's okay.
Okay. Can't we just like wear regular clothes and hold a cake? Just wholesome and beautiful?
But to other people, that is regular clothes.
I don't know. I hear you though. I mean, that was a good explanation of it. So I can definitely hear that. And that makes sense, everything you just said.
Yeah, women in drag are such a turnoff to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's not sexy at all. I would never go there. If they said to me, you want to have sex? I'd say, not now, not ever. It's just, I don't find it attractive. And I love that if a woman wants to dress in drag, that he absolutely can do that. And I see the beauty in the expression. And I love that they can express fully, and I'm completely not attracted to it, and it's not there for me. It's not there for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I think that wraps up Thursday because it's
Let's
time to
express
move
more
on
with
to our
our
next.
thoughts though nowadays and less with the body because people are getting too lost, in my opinion.
What is your message?
That I see many women suffering the ascending gland as they, I've been told not to share too much, but the thing is, it's very important to be naked, it's true, with our essence. That's what I'm trying to say, because we all want to be naked, we all want to show up, we all want to just be yourself and show yourself. It's very important, this for women today, in today's world, to gain security, true security, not to end up in relationships just to gain security.
Yeah.
Amazing. And by the way, today, it just came out. Yesterday, I did an interview with a podcast via HBO, and then it's a new podcast called AmeriQueer. I mentioned our Three Ways podcast at the very end of it. But anyway, it came out today, episode 28 of AmeriQueer. And if you're interested in listening to it, it was a lot of fun. Those guys are amazing. And I think they do a lot to hold space for diversity and compassion. So, yeah. Is there anything you guys have going on?
I just got my next group coming up at 10:30, which is always amazing. And then in a week, well, actually next Thursday we'll talk about it. I'll have the official launch for my next group coaching program. And I'm really excited. That's going to be a big, big, amazing thing. So we'll talk about that next Thursday. And I'll have it on my site, and I'm going to start bringing that out into the world. So it's a big thing. I've been working on it. It's going to be incredible.
You are amazing. You do big things. Good for you, Glenn. That's awesome.
It's going to be important. We all need a place we can go, all of us, to keep reinforcing and being inspired by positivity, because it's too easy to start something and let the negativity from the world or your own thoughts or insecurities throw you off. And so having a place that you can know when you come here, you're going to get to hear what you needed to hear, so you can stay on your life path and achieve goals bigger than you ever thought possible, because you're going to be sharing those goals with other people who believe in achieving big goals. And it's going to be really fun. So that's coming up. I'll tell you more next week. You guys have a blessed week. Stay on track. Enjoy those little moments that are so special in our lives. Like Jack, when she chooses to say no to boba and has a regular latte, she's going to send me a photo of herself without boba, really enjoying the moment, and I'll share some of my latte moments too. So until then, I'll see you later.
And enjoy your dirt, because it probably got cold.
All right.
Bye.
Bellissimo, whatever you say. Baci.
Baci.